Nothing is more frightening knowing that true evil really exists. Evil comes in all forms. Most of the time, you never know until it's too late. The stories you are about to hear have been documented and verified as authentic. It's important to revisit certain events, no matter how unsettling and upsetting they are. It's a reminder to ourselves that tomorrow is never guaranteed. So keep your loved ones close and your eyes and ears open as together we explore the unknown.
In the summer of 1974, a chilling incident unfolded in the small town of Amityville, New York, one that would become a legend. The events that transpired in a modest two-story house on Ocean Avenue would haunt many, and the echo of its dark history would ripple through the years, inviting curiosity and fear. The DeFeo family lived in that house, blissfully unaware of the horrors to come. Ronald DeFeo Jr., their troubled eldest son, often spoke of conspiracies and heard voices urging him to act. However, no one could predict the unfathomable act that would transpire on the night of November 13th. As the sun set that fateful evening, Ronald felt an overwhelming sense of dread. The air was thick, almost suffocating, with a strange compulsion tugging at his mind. He sat in his room, shadows lengthening around him, and heard a whisper, soft at first, like rustling leaves but growing louder. "Take control," it urged, weaving through his thoughts. The night was heavy with silence, amplifying the whispers. The house creaked and groaned as if it were alive, breathing in time with Ronald's racing heart. He glanced around his room, shadows twisting into grotesque shapes that seemed to dance along the walls. That night, as moonlight bathed the house in an eerie glow, Ronald succumbed to the whispers. He picked up a rifle, the cold metal heavy in his hands, feeling its comforting weight as an extension of himself. One by one, he entered the rooms of his sleeping family, each door creaking open, and with each shot that rang out, a piece of the past was obliterated. The silence that followed pressed against his ears like a thick fog. In the aftermath, Ronald's confession sent shockwaves through the community. The house became a focal point of horror and intrigue. People were drawn to the house, eager to uncover the darkness that lingered in the air. Months later, a new family, the Lutzes, moved in, unaware of the history that clung to the walls. George and Kathy Lutz, along with their 3 children, felt an immediate connection to the house, a pull that was both inviting and unsettling. The Lutzes were enchanted by the house's grandeur, its large windows and spacious rooms, but beneath the surface, an unsettling energy simmered. The first night, Kathy awoke to scratching at the window, a desperate plea for attention. She dismissed it as branches swaying, but a knot of anxiety formed in her stomach. "Relax," she told herself, allowing the night to cradle her back to sleep, even as a shadow flickered at the edge of her vision. It wasn't long before the Lutzes began to experience strange occurrences. Doors slammed shut on their own, cold spots appeared in the house, and a pervasive sense of unease settled over them. The children reported seeing ghostly figures flitting through the halls, their laughter echoing eerily. As days turned into weeks, the phenomena escalated. George often found himself waking at 3:15 a.m., feeling a pressure on his chest as if the house were communicating with him. Shadows danced along the walls, and he could hear whispers beckoning him deeper into the house's history. Kathy often felt an unseen presence watching her. She would wake to find George staring blankly at the wall, lost in a trance-like state. The children began to talk to imaginary friends, drawing pictures of the house with dark figures looming in the background. One night, after a particularly unsettling day, Kathy decided to investigate the attic. Climbing the creaky stairs, she felt a chill run down her spine. In the attic, she found remnants of the DeFeo family's life, old toys, photographs, and a bear hanging heavily in the air. That evening, as the family gathered for dinner, the atmosphere was suffocating. They could feel the weight of the house pressing down on them, the walls pulsating with a malevolent energy. The children fought over their food, tempers flaring as if a dark cloud loomed over them, whispering insidious thoughts. Suddenly the lights flickered, casting eerie shadows that contorted into grotesque shapes. The children screamed, and Kathy felt a surge of panic. "We need to leave," she insisted, her voice trembling. But George, lost to the whispers, insisted they stay, convinced the house was their home. As the days wore on, the Lutzes found themselves trapped in a nightmare. Paranormal activity escalated. The house seemed to breathe, to shift, as if it were alive. One night, in a fit of rage, George confronted the darkness that had claimed him, screaming into the void, "Leave us alone!" In that moment, the house responded. A loud crash echoed, and the air filled with growls and whispers, a symphony of chaos threatening to consume them. The Lutzes fled the house, leaving behind their belongings, but not the haunting echoes of their experience. Even after leaving, the specter of the house lingered in their minds, a shadow that refused to dissipate. They were plagued by nightmares, visions of the horror they had encountered. Kathy would wake screaming, drenched in sweat, the dark figures haunting her thoughts. In the years that followed, the Amityville Horror became a cautionary tale, blurring the lines between reality and myth. The house stood, a silent witness to the horrors it housed, whispering secrets to those brave enough to listen. Even now, as you ponder the tale of the Defios and the Lutzes, consider the shadows dancing in your own life. What whispers linger in the dark corners of your mind? Breathe in deeply, allowing the tension to ebb away. But remember, some stories never truly end. They linger, waiting for the next curious soul to uncover their chilling truths.